1 year after a violent mob stormed the U.S. Capitol, federal prosecutors warn they're still going after those accused of taking part in the January 6th attack. This investigation isn't over. 8 people from Oregon and Southwest Washington are among the more than 700 defendants who've been charged so far in relation to the riot. They include 2 brothers, a 63-year-old accused of assaulting an officer, and a father-son duo from Battleground. What you did, was it illegal?
Of course.
So far, more than 160 defendants from across the country have pleaded guilty, although none of the cases involving defendants from Oregon or Southwest Washington have been resolved. So here's where they stand. The 2 Oregon brothers, Matthew and Jonathan Peter Klein, are facing multiple federal charges for their involvement in the insurrection. Photos provided by the Department of Justice show the Kleins inside the Capitol building on January 6th. According to court papers, Jonathan Peter Klein is a self-identified member of the far-right Proud Boys. The Klein brothers are pleading not guilty, and because of the overwhelming amount of evidence to be reviewed, the case has been delayed. Federal prosecutors also relied on images taken from videos and social media to help build a case against Richard Harris.
Can I speak to Pelosi? Yeah.
He's facing various charges related to the insurrection, including assaulting an officer. The former Amazon worker is living at his father's home in Happy Valley while awaiting trial. The FBI used surveillance and body-worn camera footage to help identify a 63-year-old Hillsborough man. Reed Christensen is facing multiple charges in connection with the takeover of the Capitol after allegedly striking and pushing officers. The U.S. Army veteran and former Intel employee is scheduled to appear in federal court for arraignment by Zoom later this month. Jeffrey Hubbard of Lincoln City was captured on surveillance video storming the Capitol on January 6th. His arraignment on federal charges is scheduled for February. Tipsters alerted the FBI about Mark Brew of Vancouver. He's accused of breaching the U.S. Capitol. Court papers included photos of the Washington man pushing past law enforcement and entering the Senate gallery. And then there's the case against Jeff Grace of Battleground and his son Jeremy Grace, seen in photos posing together inside the Capitol. They're both facing federal charges. In March, we interviewed the father. Why did you enter the Capitol building?
You know, I really don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I had no intention of it. And I don't want to say swept up by the crowd or swept up by my heart or swept up by this. I don't really have an answer for that.
This summer, a federal judge ordered Jeff Grace to give up his guns while awaiting trial after he participated in violent clashes with counter-protesters in downtown Portland and traveled to El Paso, Texas. Since then, Grace has complained in videos posted on social media that the Justice Department is treating him unfairly.
I want my guns back.
Joanna Mendelson, Associate Director of the Anti-Defamation League's Center on Extremism, says the threat of prison time clearly hasn't silenced far-right extremists.
The repercussions of January 6th were enormous, and one would have felt that that would have dissuaded the bad actors from continuing along in that trajectory. And yet we've seen in some ways extremists become emboldened. We've seen extremist ideology become mainstreamed.
None of the defendants from Oregon or Southwest Washington appear anxious to resolve their cases. Court records indicate there's been little cooperation from those involved. Instead, their charges are almost entirely based on evidence gathered from social media, cell phone, and travel records, along with tips from family members and acquaintances.
In this case, the federal prosecutors, I think, are deciding that it's important to catch as many people as we can. But the downside is that court time is limited, lawyer time is limited, and so it just takes a long time to work through all the cases.
Lewis and Clark law professor Tung Yin admits the Department of Justice will likely spend years prosecuting those involved in the January 6th attack. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.